All right. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Good evening. All right. Yeah, for sure. I see. Wow. All right. What's up, UPST? What stocks am I looking at tomorrow? We're about to go over that in here in just a minute. Can you guys hear me okay? Sound all right? Swinging Sony. All right, good to go. Cool. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get right into it. All right, no delay. Those of you who hopefully people as they come in will just rewind. But I want to go ahead and get straight to the news and everything. A little bit late tonight, Monday. It's important we get our rest. I was hoping to be on just a little bit earlier, but I changed all my settings on OBS to try and stream through TikTok. Or on my PC to TikTok and Reddit and all that other stuff, and I was unsuccessful, and then just left with a bunch of awful settings on my OBS. So here I am. But anyway, so going over the news, at least for the weekend, or last week, there's a couple of things real quick. Hold on, let me pull up. Where's my news? There we go. There's a couple things that were kind of interesting that I was reading. Every single Spider sector ETF that was traded was up by the end of the week. There's like a pretty neat graph here on TradingView. I'll share it in the chat here in just a minute. Here, I just copied and pasted that and put it in the Discord. But this is on the daily rip. But anyway, this one right here is really interesting to see all of these markets rising and all of them doing so on low volume. And I know I've discussed this every single week, and that's how I'm starting this live again, but it's just something that I want everybody to remember, and just know in the back of our minds that we are not pushing up on the strength that we would normally like to see. Now, going into next week, earnings calendar, which is really, I think we covered this last week. Monday, it's going to be really, really interesting. We have Roblox, NIU, CleanSpark, XSPA, Visalink on the 17th, Ozone, which is actually a company that some of you guys have been in the Discord for a while. You guys may remember trading with me in Astro. This is like the Russian Amazon, if you will. So SE is also reporting in e-commerce as well. HD, Walmart, not a lot of those other big names. And then Wednesday we've got Target, Nvidia. So we have another pretty exciting. We also have Hood, Robinhood's first earnings, and this is going to inject some volatility in either direction, period, end of story. And I imagine those contracts are already likely rather inflated at this point. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our major ETFs. As far as the news is concerned, tomorrow morning, or earnings and all that good stuff, we will go a little bit more in depth. There are some changes happening here to our schedule, or at least to my schedule. I will no longer be going live every night, but rather going live on Sundays and Wednesday in the evening, and everything in the morning will likely be a little bit earlier. So I'd like to start streaming around 8 o'clock rather than 8:45. That way I have time to take requests, as well as go over my watch list in depth. And I also would like to trade pennies in pre-market on live with some of you guys tuning in on YouTube. So, so yeah, just to throw that out there for you guys just tuning in, or those of you who have been tuning in. This is just because time-wise, it's just a little bit easier for me to get to a lot of the one-on-ones, and as well as get some rest. But anyway, so earnings are pumped up. We've got a pretty exciting week that way. But let's go ahead and let's look at SPY. So I think we finished the last week with relatively low volume, same as we did. In fact, I think if you go back out and zoom out on the daily, you'll notice that the last 2 days of volume, which it is Thursday and Friday, were very, very low. We did start off the previous week with relatively high volume, but that died off immediately. So in order to see some solid continuation, I would like to see SPY push, and we're going to go down here to the hourly, because one thing that we talked about and what reigned true all day was this resistance here. And I've got a little bit messed up here, but hold on one second, sorry about that. So right here, kind of this downtrend that we were talking about, we broke that trend, and we basically exchanged this support, this dynamic support, for a resistance, right? So we've seen multiple bounces now off of that resistance. And one of the things that you can kind of expect is when SPY trades flat, it does give itself more room to climb to the upside. So I think it's really, really simple in this case with resistance, or that dynamic resistance being above us. It's just as simple as setting, and volume has been lackluster, but we've still continued to melt up. Rolly actually verbatim stated it like that. He said that we're going to probably likely continue to bleed up or melt up, which is a testament to the volume and the market conditions in general. But anyway, if we can climb above this mark right here, I have 446. Just a 446 break, we could see this thing back in the 446, or not back, but up to the 446.75, even 447, based on where this dynamic resistance is. So we'll see where volume is at. The one thing that, let's see, I got a blue line here for no reason. The one thing that was mildly concerning is that I don't believe that we filled the entirety of the gap on SPY, which was kind of unusual. But if we were to pull back, that would be the first bounce mark that I have here. So just throwing that out there, right there. Anyway, so let's go take a look at the Qs. Oh, I put my Q button on sideways. That's cute. I was cleaning my keyboard. I also pretty much clicked every button in the world, because now there's like this weird setting where the keys only light up where I tap them, and it looks like it's weird. It's very distracting. So let's look at the Qs. This last week is, we talked about how tight the price action was on the Qs, and how if it rejected the 369, 370 level, that we would likely break down. We did. Now we're kind of curling back up. this very same resistance that we hit previously, which is at 369.60 and 369.85, those two are still basically the first targets right above us. And there's a lot of setups, Microsoft, Snow, Roku, Facebook, all of which look kind of pent up, kind of look set up to go. So if we see that volume, this is would be our third attempt. Those of you guys usually know my rule of thumb, and a lot of other traders' rules of thumb is 3 touches and a break, or 3 taps of resistance and a break. So I'm expecting that if we can see that next leg up, likely a rejection or a little pullback there, we could see an inverse head and shoulders form here or something of that nature. But I am watching the cues to push above what I think that was, yeah, so that was August 10th high, as well as August 5th's high. So both of those days' highs we're going to want to push past, and we're right underneath them, and that's one of the reasons why that's, and I have this marker here that we climbed up above, we held, but just like the Qs and just like SPY, the volume just wasn't there. So Friday, of course, usually we see that type of volume. And before I leave the Qs, I just want to remind everybody where we're at in this channel on the Qs. The longer we trade flat, the more room we have to fidget with to the upside. So just because we hit something, we're looking for a major rejection in order to start pulling something into a downtrend, which usually takes a catalyst. So any type of negative catalyst up around this range would likely send the Qs into a downtrend. But at the moment, they seem pretty resilient, and they're still holding tight consolidation on low volume up against this resistance. So like I said, it's a tripwire. As soon as something negative in any case happens, I think that we would be in for the start of somewhat of a correction, being in the range that we're in. All right. Sorry, I was just looking at something. So the TSLA. Okay. Hold on a second. Just reading your guys' messages. Tate, what are you talking about? It's a key set thing? Oh, the little thing. You know what? Yes, that would be nice, because I mean, it is neat, but not for people like me. I hope you guys had a good weekend too. Thanks, Robert. What the heck? 1 second. Let me change my buy rate here. Does my screen or anything look choppy or weird? Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna sound like completely ridiculous. I don't really know what the hell a buy rate is. I don't know what that is, so I don't know what needs to be fixed here. Yo, what's up, Solvenless? So it recommends a stream rate of 4,500. Does this thing even do that? All right. Sorry, just testing. Is this sound, everything sound normal still? Everybody sound okay? I'm not sure what you guys are getting on your end, so. All right. Well, I'm not sure. There we go. Do you guys still hear me okay? Sounding good? Okay, cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Just want to make sure. It's that my buy rate or spies or YouTube's telling me my frame rate or something like that is off. So, all right, cool. All right. So anyway, sorry to interrupt myself. Anyway, we're watching the cues. We like that it's sat flat. Hopefully the setups that we see with Microsoft and others, those move up and we see continuation with the cues above 369 or 370, excuse me, 370 with a potential target around 372. IWM. So taking a peek here. So I'm going to go ahead and restart on that one. So we have been bouncing around. This one's not been terrible to keep track of. Pennies have been pretty volatile lately, up and down. This one kind of spilled over the 20-day EMA, but still holding that 220.50 support rather well. So we're going to want to see a bounce off 220.50, or we could see or find ourselves around 218, 217.50 pretty quickly. We did have relatively low volume. If we could find a bounce, oops, and I got my stream rate or my support off a little bit. If we could find a bounce, we could see another climb up to around 228. And like I said, with Qs and SPY, low volume, so not seeing much sentiment. Of course, Thursdays and Fridays, but pretty much throughout the whole week we were operating on lower than average volume. So that's something that to keep in mind. Of course, going into this next week, this one is riding on support. Going down here to the hourly, if you want to set a couple of price marks to the downside, of course you've got the area in which we are bouncing now around 220.40. You've got this major support right here. That one's going to be hanging out right around the 218 level, and those are two levels to watch potentially to the downside. So the Dow, this one moving up, of course, on infrastructure bill. A lot of stocks that we're familiar with, like CAT, being awarded quite a bit of money from this bill. The Dow is riding this support right here. It's also riding the 20 EMA. You'll notice that this blue line, as soon as it took off, has been where the Dow has liked to bounce. So we ended Friday with the Dow right here on that 20-day EMA and kind of looking like a bull flag here. So I am watching this one to kind of climb up and move up into higher highs, of course taking that industrial sector with it. So we're going to be watching a lot of those industrial stocks as well. Alrighty, so as far as my watch list is concerned, one of the first ones that I want to discuss with you guys is Starbucks. And I think that this one is going to be one of the ones that I focus on with the small account challenge. And one of the reasons being is the contracts tend to be pretty affordable. And if this is a bounce off of a major or off of our daily trend line, which it looks like it is, and I haven't stepped out here to the weekly. Yeah, so it looks like that. I had a feeling. It looks like here on the 20-day EMA for Starbucks, that's been a decent place for Starbucks to bounce. So without taking anything, jumping the gun on anything, we did get just a hair away. I think 114.66 is where that 20 is. But a lot of the times you see here, it doesn't quite make it all the way down, but we're in that range. Go back down to the daily here. I did chart a downtrend. So let me go down here to the hourly, actually. I think it was a little bit easier. Yeah, so running off of this angle here and pulling it down, you'll notice that we just now broke downtrend. Now, that would be our daily support. I want to see it climb up into the 715.51s. Normally for a daily candle, you guys see what trading he does to me sometimes. This is showing some strength here. This is taking quite a bit of guap in order to push this off of support. You'll notice that it also ran a little bit divergent from the market, where a lot of things were making lows and Starbucks was making highs. This one dumped or pulled back rather hard on earnings that were not that bad. I had a couple people look at them. I think Atlas even commented on Starbucks and earnings. So curious if this is going to end up being a good dip buy here. I like this one to climb above the 117 mark. I may take a $120 swing going out 2 weeks, and I also may be looking at scalping this one with 118 strikes for this week going into Monday and Tuesday, depending on market direction and volume. So Starbucks is on watch. One of the some of the levels that we can go, and those of you who are new, and if you guys are not quite ready for level making, you guys can set pivot point strategy up on the hourly. It seems to be a relatively good median. So the first target here, even if you're using that system, would be around 117.81, 117.85, and then you have the 200-day EMA right above that at 118.36. A lot of people will also just use the pivot points out here on the daily, and you'll notice that a lot of the times that stocks will go and retest their pivot points. If you break through a pivot point, usually you'll see major downside. If you break above your pivot point, usually you'll see some solid continuation. Pivot point usually lines up with some type of demand zone that usually buyers are present in that level. It's an agreeable price. But as far as Starbucks is concerned, there is a gap above us around 123.35 if we were to make it up to that level. And that gap being filled. Hopefully I can watch this video in about 3 or 4 weeks and we're somewhere around or near that gap. But we'll see how we move here. We've had the after earnings blues, so hopefully we can see a nice correction here in the downtrend. So, are there any bots that target gaps to the upside or downside by chance? Got a few questions on TikTok about how long it takes to become a trader and how long it took me to become a successful trader. That's a really good question. I will write that down in just a moment, or I'll write that down, or just screenshot that, and we'll answer that in just a moment. I just don't want to interrupt the flow, but good question, Fredo. Nice, Big Stepper's watching that one too. Me and him tend to line up, and magic is made when we're both watching the same stocks. So for me, Starbucks has a couple of different trigger points and a couple of different prerequisites that we're going to be looking for in order to look for continuation to the upside. Now, I will likely, and I'm going to write these down. I can send you a picture of them. But for Starbucks, I'm likely going to be taking a 120 strike, maybe out till September 17th, right? Maybe even 125. We'll take a look at the premiums here in just a little bit, or tomorrow. But like I said, I think this will be good for a long swing and scalping underneath. So hopefully this is where I get to show you guys at least a little bit of how that works sometimes, optimizing the upside. Now, one of my main concerns is we have had this long extended downtrend and we're bouncing off of this very same level, right? And one could consider this a shoulder. So one of the reasons why 120 is my target is because the shoulder build, I'm always trying to look in the future about like what could potentially happen, and a rise up around this level would likely have Starbucks around that 120 level, 120, 60 or 75, and then you could potentially see a pullback there. So we'll be watching for sellers, and there are sellers sitting in this zone, and you can see that too by how you get a rejection here, the stock falls multiple times. Once you clear that level, sellers just take it right on down, no problem. So that's one of the levels that I'll be watching. Obviously volume is going to be needed. That's always one of my major prerequisites. And what I'm going to be looking for is just pretty much a climb above average. Starbucks, and this is where it's important to look back, right? On what does it take to get Starbucks moving, if at all. Look at this, my stupid line. Why do you do the things that you do? Trading. I love you, trading. You. Just kidding. But anyway, hold on one second. Let me fix my line. Okay, so anyway, so if you look back, a good bull run right here on a daily, you get about 4.8 million shares traded. You can go down here to the 4-hour time frame. Let's go see, where did we look at? We'll just look right here. So in a basically a 2 million here, and then a solid 2.75 million here, 4 hours time frame. And that's what gets that stock moving to the upside. On the hourly time frame here, we can see that our strongest moves are made with around 1 million shares. The opening candle opens up with around 373,000 shares. And that looks like a relatively strong day here. On the second day of running, we opened up with 921,000. And you can see, right, that first day, it doesn't always run off of initial volume. Volume is good for continuation as well, but initially that first opening candle, you get those pre-market buys, and then just kind of like a speculative open as that gap gets filled, and then volume starts to pick up. And then that momentum continues into the next day until you eventually get major profit taking that occurs here. And this is one thing to keep when we take this play on Starbucks. If the play presents the right opportunity, we gotta be careful, because you guys see that when Microsoft or Starbucks hits a level where sellers are, it's obviously heavily institutionally owned, and so the price is controlled. There you go, Atlas. Great job. Great chart. That's phenomenal. Maybe bring that wick. Do that on the 4-hour, but or a higher time frame. Do you see how? If that is that Starbucks? Yeah. So just futures of boo boo. Ow. But hey, I like gap downs. Don't always look at gap downs as a bad thing. A lot of the times gap downs can be a great thing. And in fact, look at here, right? You gap down and you end up running for 4 days straight. A lot of the times most of the time gaps always get filled. But a lot of the times when there's a small gap above you, it actually is like a snowball effect. It tends to get the momentum rolling in the right direction. That's a boo-boo though. The future's looking owie. So what do we got? The Dow futures down 0.33%. S&P futures down 0.24%, and the Nasdaq futures down 14%. There's a lot going on in the world. We got the virus. We have what's happening in Afghanistan. So much going on over there. So we have a lot going on. I don't know exactly what's primarily affecting futures at the moment. It says in countries such as Iran, Russia, Vietnam, Thailand, South Africa, COVID is up faster than ever. Sorry, I'm just reading here. Okay, interesting. Well, anyway, so Starbucks for me, I'm going to be watching this round. So do you see this previous support, this 117.55? You'll notice that we bounce off of that multiple times. I'm looking for a climb above that. That doesn't mean that's where exactly I'm going to take my first position. I'm likely going to take a position in my first position as it climbs into the 117 area. So above 117, you can expect a 50% push into that 150, 117.60, maybe even hitting the 117.85 before you see your first pullback. Now we are looking at a potential break in downtrend, or a continuation break, but a lot of the times the stock will sit a little bit flat. So we're not guaranteed a immediate run. So we're going to just be setting alerts, right? And price marks. Right now I have 117, and I'll just borrow this line here. So this is one of my first entries, right? And this is going to be one of my first places of 117.85. So even if I scalp the weeklies, 118 contracts, that's likely where I would like to start to take profit. But we have the 118.40 mark, which is the hourly 200-day EMA, and I'm betting that Starbucks likely makes its initial push up to that 200-day EMA. So, yeah. And like I said, one of the things that we're going to be tracking, and we can look back historically, is we can see that when on the hourly time frame, the 9-day moving average in a bullish trend, the 9 and the 20 EMA tend to be the moving averages that are the most respected. So for me, my long contract stop losses are going to be a candle breaks below those 20 and those 50-day, or that 9-day moving average, as well as that 20 EMA. And you'll notice the respect here on this previous bull run, the 9-day moving average kind of hugging that, see that? And then you have the 20-day moving average holding it up as well. So, alrighty, let's get moving. So Microsoft, enough to piss off the Pope. This one, man, I tell you what, I was a little perturbed that it broke, and it did so on low volume, but it is what it is. There is still a gap that we just left unfilled on Microsoft. That's right around the 281.50 and looks like I've got the 281.85 mark. But nonetheless, I don't doubt Microsoft. I just didn't think that it would break into this next level. So I am watching Microsoft next week for possible continuation. This one likes to pull back pretty heavy, or at least at the bell, likes to pull back before it pulls back up. So we'll be looking for some type of retest. Normally, when we've played Microsoft before, I've gone up to, like, say where was it? So for the hourly time frame on Microsoft, I've mostly relied on the same moving average, that 20 EMA, as one of the more respected EMAs in that longer bull run. So I'll be looking for the 20 EMA to cross this breakout level around 291 or 292 and 291.50. Once that happens, usually you'll see a retest. You'll also notice that the HMA has climbed above the stock. Usually when that happens, you'll get a little bit of a consolidating pullback. So the most important thing here is just to set your alerts up and watch for those bounces off of these moving averages. You can set alerts on these moving averages. So you can actually add an alert and whatever moving average, crossing up, greater than, moving up, percentage-wise, entering channel, whatever the case may be. That's funny, DJ. Ooh. Yeah, you need to hold that any support right there, Sushi. Okay, so anyway, on Microsoft, we're just going to be watching this one price action wise, and of course above Friday's highs, 293 and 293.23. I am watching for a potential retest of 291.87 or 291.85, excuse me, for that breakout level to retest. So you'll go back here and you'll notice that with the ascending triangle that we made, that we have tested that 292 level and broke it and held it. So because we're above that line, I'll be looking for a potential retest. Usually when the moving averages are really far behind the price, you'll normally see some type of pullback. So watch for a little pullback here and possibly continuation. So, all right, CAT is on my watch list as well for possible continuation. Looks like we got a little bit of a flag happening here. I noticed that the volume did start to dissipate, and we could see a bounce off of this 216.17 level. But with the Dow set up the way that it is, and if you go down here to the hourly, you'll notice that if you run a little candle or a little a little resistance and support on this one, that it's flagging out here kind of hard. I'll be watching this one. Price action got really tight above 120.40. I think we might see a reclamation of the uptrend and above 221 for potential continuation. If you look out here on the daily time frame, this is exactly what you would expect whenever you cross a major moving average here. You got that 20-day EMA here, and it looks like you're getting that retest. Like I just said, normally when the moving averages are too far behind, you'll see the price pull back and retest. So CAT is on watch, Starbucks is on watch, and Microsoft. There's 3 plays. I'm going to go ahead and write those down. Get a little small kid. You don't have to get up. Chill. So you dyslexia alive there? What did I say? The Starbucks, Microsoft. I think I had 295s for that one. And then we've got CAT. What's the price mark that I put on that one? That was going to be, 222. CAT. Long cat. You're just a big cat. I've been working out? What are you talking about? I've been working out. I don't know about that. I look jacked. What the fuck are you talking? Excuse me. Oh, crazy. Troops got pulled out of it. Now Tam to it. Yeah, I just read. If you guys just saw. I'm reading you guys' comments. Health policy presentation forum. That's by a mouthful. Afghan and COVID cases rising could be a reason for the overall. Yeah, that's what I suspect as well. So that cat looking interesting though. That's I've had this cat. She's like 14, and she doesn't listen to anybody anymore. Hey, you did, huh? What's up, Burger? That's Rogue. She's got seven fingers. She's a mutant cat. With the current situation in Afghanistan, do I put Scott? Do you mean to go buy mass? Yes, I will definitely go and unbiasedly dig into Sony here in just a minute. I'll write that down. She's a senior citizen. Show some respect. She is a senior citizen. See, she hears me. She just chose to ignore me. You can clean yourself on camera, please. Anyway, the cat setup looks pretty good. I expected a little bit of a rejection around that 224, but we didn't even get there. Like I said, just expect a little retest there. All right, so anyway, so you guys wanted me to look at Sony. I used to trade Sony when it was SNE back in my day. Yeah, man, we gotta relax when we're doing charts. Alright, so a couple of different other stocks, just some washers, some lookers. I'm gonna be dead ass with you guys. I'm not usually full dead ass. No, I'm just kidding. But when it comes to earnings, a lot of the times I keep my gambles to myself, but I am taking a calculated gamble potentially on Roblox. Don't tell anybody, but we are watching this one for momentum. I'm looking for this one to potentially to shoot up into the 95. I like how it's sitting right now. I like that they have held it back. It seems that when it made that okay, so this seemed, in my opinion, to be a whole lot of retail. Everybody was watching this setup, and I think that with that, it made for an easy target, but it's also still holding that strong uptrend, and you can tell, even the TTM, look at the TTM squeezing right there. So we're going into earnings, holding those bullish moving averages. I'm doing it. I'm gonna take a calculated risk on Roblox. I think Roblox reports after the bell, thank God. So we're going to watch this one at the bell for potential setup. Maybe it runs. Usually there's a lot of fake outs on stocks that have earnings the day of. But there are also some stocks that we can watch that obviously Ozone and SE. So other stocks, we have SE, we have JMIA that are, so Ozone, SE, JMIA, Melly. Which had earnings not too long ago, and so did JMIA. So those are ones that run in sympathy. HD, of course, has seen some nice momentum and lows. So those are all ones that we can kind of write down just to keep our eyes on. Walmart, you may see other Walmart-related homies, Kroger, stuff like that. Let's see here. Target. Nvidia. Oh shit, god damn it. You know what, I totally left AMD off my list, and I don't know why I did that. Oh, that's not a ticker that I know. Yeah, that is so distracting. Okay, so sorry about that one. I wrote this one's on my watch list. I went over it already with somebody else earlier, and I almost just like completely forgot. Okay, so nice bottom here on AMD. I wonder if there's anyone who ever walks past my house at night and just hears me saying some of these things. Anyway, so we got a nice rounded bottom here on AMD, 106.14, right off the hourly 200-day EMA, beautiful falling wedge. Now, I've noticed that here recently as the market momentum's been kind of low, and normally where you would see a strong reversal like you did see on Roblox, you didn't end up seeing a strong reversal. With this one, it just kind of sat flat. But we got our initial pop up, and it went straight to that target that I have here at 110.55. And of course, we're going to be watching this one for the wick fill at 111.80. The HMA is currently holding 111.25. Everything's pinched here in after hours, or was pinched in after hours. The first initial target that we're going to be watching is 112.25. And right above that, we'll be watching that 114. There was quite a bit of, let me go look up AMD. So AMD, those of you who are asking, somebody DM'd me about whether they should buy unusual whales or something like that. If you're in our chat, that's exactly, we can't name our stuff the same thing. It's not sourced from the same place. But as far as the flow is concerned, the flow that comes in is pretty accurate in just giving you an idea of where the highest momentum, there's not a terrible amount of difference between the algorithms that capture high probability moves. So, but just throwing that out there. So anyway, looking at AMD, I think we saw 130 strikes for 1119. Of course, it's just flow. Those came in twice. We had $989,000 in premium and then $262,000 in premium. So those came in, on Friday. We got a 108 strike as well, but that was likely from that scalp. So anyway, so AMD has those 130 strikes. I'm thinking that people are probably going to expect AMD to see solid continuation here. And I mean, you can't, with NVIDIA's earnings coming up here, it's probably not far-fetched to think that we're going to see somewhat of a similar reaction. So, nice. Microsoft, AMD. Look, bruh. Hey, big step. I stole half your watch list, my guy. I'm sorry, Doc. I'm sorry. You can have Starbucks. I'm just kidding, man. That's awesome, dude. That's great. If me and you are both watching the same thing, it's kind of weird that Starbucks just popped up on my chart. Those of you who play Snap, check out that falling wedge here. Watch Snap above 75. You guys will notice I don't really play Snap that much. I used to play it, and every time I play it, I just remember that I played it at $12 and I didn't hold shares on it. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go ahead. Besides that, I'm watching Skin. I'm in a Skin swing. So just throw that out there. You guys will likely hear me hollering about that next week. But there might be room for continuation. I saw some interesting flow for $30 strikes. But that's kind of on the side. That's my own little thing. But yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and get to your guys' request. And we're going to wrap it up. Also, those of you in the Discord, I will be still doing live. It'll just be live in the Discord on like Monday through Friday at night, but just not on YouTube every day. So I love you guys on YouTube, but I can't do it every night. Not the Skin memes. Oh God. If I lived near, I wouldn't pay for. I'll have to see. I don't think there's anything that I could do it. I'm the only TikTok viewer. I don't think the new angle reacted well with the algo. Alright. Oh shit. You know what? The battery froze. Oh, I gotta screenshot that. Hold on a second. This girl said way too much time on Starbucks. So if you're gonna sit in here, and not on YouTube, on TikTok, way too much time. Sorry, I had to get that. That's hilarious. They're gonna sit here and tell me I'm doing too much analysis. Damn, I gotta stop, guys. All right, lies ended. I've done too much. All right. Oh God. Either interesting. Gross. Yo, Karen and the Starbucks complaints for real. Sorry. I'm sorry if there's anyone named Karen. Shouldn't do that. Anyway, I know everybody in the world named Karen. That's a nice person. Anyway, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and take your guys' request now. So what do you guys want me to dig into here? Thank you. So we got Sony and Snap. Oh, well shit. That's why I looked at Snap. Alright, so let's take a look at Snap here. Hourly falling wedge. Setup looks really nice. Of course, it could break this and go and revisit this support zone right here at 72. 72 right there. So watch this one below 74, a break below 74, and we'll likely see. And actually, now that I say this, we may see a gap down on Snap. So either Snap, and this is where we'll look for residual strength. But if Snap holds 73.80 somewhere in there, or then we could hold this trend line. Otherwise, we'll see Snap back down to 72 bucks. So this one, if you go look at the daily as well, it's holding a really tight. I told people, as soon as it breaks out, maybe and holds a candle, it might be good for continuation. But I hate when stocks have huge gaps underneath them. It just makes me feel uneasy. But the price action is really tight inside of this channel, and volume has dissipated, and it just looks like it's ready to turn over. So I would just, anybody watching Snap, I would just remind you guys to be very careful, price action and all. So. The simple system, you like the Simple Stack shirt? They're not bad. They're pretty cool. I'm happy with them. Hold on a second. All right. Bing's credit card on desk. All right, guys. So that's because we use that good quality cotton, not those Gildans. All right, so Snap. Now let's take a look at Sony. Yeah, so I actually like Sony, at least for holding this support. You got stopped out at the 9-day moving average on the daily. I think that if you gap up going into next week, you're likely going to go retest into the 104.25s. This looks like a potential bounce off support, but you are still technically holding downtrend. So that's your downtrend inside of that larger setup here on the daily. And you're going to want to see a climb back up to around 104. Really, Sony is in need of a breakout. I think when we had earnings here, Sony is in need of a major move to the upside. It's been consolidated in this zone going back to the beginning, really going all the way into May after their earnings didn't do so well in April. So. Walmart seeking to hire digital currency lead. Interesting. No shit. Rumors on Apple iPhone 13 anticipated September debut. Why the hell did I even buy this thing? We got major cryptocurrency. By the way, our crypto bot called out another crypto ripper, guys. I don't know if anybody's in our or those of you who are in our Discord that's trading crypto. That thing is geeking. And I guess Dogecoin is up. Hot damn! Look at that sweet relief. Someone out there, I told you so, man. Alright, so let's go. What's next? What do you guys got for me? For some reason, I can't see any of our bots in the Discord. I got you, Kobe. Robert, UPS, NWL. Let me see. Oh, EHTH. Just making sure I'm not skipping anybody. Oh, I didn't know that I charted this one, but I can already see that you've broken a very major support. you're going back down to the $40 level, more than likely looking for a bounce at 40.30. That's going to be your first level. You're likely going to fluctuate that in that level between 32.82 and $40 flat. This thing, whatever has happened with this, I imagine its rise and fall came from both COVID. So looking at eHealth, you've got earnings that has just happened, and it's just continued to fall. So really, yeah, this thing has fallen through major supports too. So it's in need of a retest, if anything. Let me go down here to the hourly. Yeah, so I mean, you're really, if you see a lower low going into next week, I would bank on that trip down to $40. If you retest and bounce, then watch for a retest around $46 to $45. But whatever has happened, it's just continuing to fall here really hard. There is a chance with COVID that you see continuation, but it's looking. It looks as if it's in a very strong downtrend, likely because the fundamentals don't line up with the valuations. So, Sonos ripped after hours, by the way. I don't know if anybody saw that. Sonos, look at that after hours movement. Crazy. Okay. Sorry, I wish I could give you better news on EHTH, but just really not looking good. Strong downtrend there. Nothing nice. Alright, so let's take a look at UPS. This one's actually on the watch list, just kind of far back. Does that pop up on the screen for you guys when I do that? Hold on a second.
The mail checks marketing smarts. You know a whole lot.
It's probably illegal. Alright. Okay, cool. I just want to see if it was pinning the messages. Perfect. Alright, anyway. Alright, so let's go look at UPS. Alright, so back up at the top of this channel, let's get rid of these pivot points here as they're squishing us down. So I'm even going to get rid of these lines as well. They are of no use. So it's not going down. It has hit support multiple times in this process. And really, if you look at it, UPS going down to the hourly time frame, you can see that there's a small upwards trend that's pushing us up into support. This looks as if it's going to be broken. If you can get a bounce and a third test around 194.50, you could go for that 195.60 or just 196 retest. But here, let me do real quick. I'm gonna do this. I'm shadow banned on TikTok right now, so this makes sense. Jeez. Hold on, sorry guys. Okay, so anyway, with Starbucks, or with UPS, because we're at the top of this channel, so this is the channel that has held UPS, the price range, if you will, 194.61 and 190.25. So if this ends up rejecting, then I would likely expect UPS back down to the 190 level. So we'll watch that one probably up below 120.75. that's probably guaranteed as far as continuation to the downside. So I would watch UPS for that rejection. A lot of the price targets have been screaming more downside, but I've heard more people's with the buy the dip mentality on UPS. So we'll be watching that one either way. We're just going to kind of watch volume step up and hopefully push us above the 200, or we get a good rejection here and we finally go and break that 190 level and fill the massive gap that is below us on the daily. And if anything, 183 is a 200-day even moving average, which would fill the majority of this gap. So it's definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on. It looks more or less like it's going to move up and see further continuation because you have a gap above it as well. And if it was going to end up filling that gap below it, it may just go fill that gap to the upside, whether that be, obviously it's not going to be in a day or even a week, but either way, we'll watch that one. It's just, as long as it's in range, I would leave it alone. So, there's no volume. Let me look at the Briston. You want Disney? Because you have a family? No, just kidding. Alright, so UPS, that one's just criticals. Make sure you set alerts on both the top and bottom resistance and support. So, what is that? Atlas. Snapchat. There you go. That's the hourly time frame. Okay. Is that the? I think I got that wrong. Right? What was it? NWL. I don't know how I got all that. New L brands. Apparently I've charted this one as well at some point in my life. DM me about that, man. Once I'm done with live, I'd be happy to answer some questions. So with New L here, looks like you're trading in a channel. You just kind of established that range of the channel, but this is a 200-day EMA moving up here, so you've hit a pretty critical support after what looked to be a pretty rough earnings. You're slowly but surely kind of making your way up, but I will just bring into frame the fact that you've stayed in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days that you've traded in between $26 and $24.83. So the price range that you've held has been very, very small. Momentum and volume is very, very low, and you're just kind of drifting sideways. This one, I imagine, I'm not quite actually sure what they do. I feel like I've heard this name multiple times, but I don't know what exactly it is that they do. But anyway, you're holding that 200-day EMA. The channel that you're in, the downtrend would likely be broken, and you would, I think, above 26.77. Any daily candle hold there would likely have you at least attempting to break downtrend, and of course above this zone here, I would likely expect for New L to be out of that downtrend and established a new uptrend. So in this zone here, and there's a micro gap here as well that could get filled as well. Which if the gap got filled, more than likely you'd find yourself in this zone and then continuing to the upside from there. It's in my bio. All right. APPS. Aaron, I will get to your question here in just a moment. That's a great question, though. Really good question. I like that kind of question. My phone died? No, it didn't. It's alive. It's alive right here, I think. Oh, the battery. Yeah, alert came in. Yeah, sure. I'll try Sophie. Thanks. See, I would argue differently. Maybe a rebound on apps, right? So you're not only approaching a previous bounce level at 53.32, right? So this is where you've seen the stock, even on pullbacks here, you've seen it bounce off of that level. Here, you've seen a strong bounce off of that level. So it is not outside of the question. I don't know how their earnings went, so that's totally, there is a big squeeze happening here. But earnings did not go obviously well, or at least investor reactions to earnings did not go well. So I would suspect 53.32 or in that 50 or just $53 range. I would be looking for a bounce. Below that, then yes, there is the potential. You see the $50 range, of course, which is right down below that. As your next level down, but 50 is going to be big, so I wouldn't try to go. You want to try and short the top, right? So you don't want to like it looks like it might be a good put play, but at the same time, or a good short play, it could be the worst put play, because if this is support, you don't want to try and guess where the bottom is. You want to try and short weak levels, right? So whether you're using volume profile, which is an indicator that's up here, or you're not there, but an indicator that you can use here so that way you can kind of find the levels of buyers and sellers with volume profile. But that's one way that you can kind of get an idea of like, okay, are there buyers or sellers, sitting in this area? So. Where'd it go? Well, that was useless. I don't know what just happened there, but that was stupid. Anyway, yeah. So I would actually be more or less watching this one for a bounce and a retest around 65. But I don't know. Who knows? That's you don't want to try and guess what's going to happen at support. You just want to try and watch price action. So how's it going? There's like a better. Nah, it's terrible. Okay. Disney. So to answer your question, Aaron, it all depends on the trade in question. So if let's say I'm scalping, right? So let's say I'm scalping Facebook, okay? And it's Monday. My mindset on a Monday is going to be a little bit different than a Friday, right? Overall, like if I'm entering a long-term trade, my mindset is I'm looking to aggressively protect my position rather than just watch it and look to milk that one thing. I'm looking to almost anchor myself to a trade when I go long. So when I'm going long, I'm basically speculating that this is a stock I'm going to continue to play for that time frame, right? In order to up, down, whatever the case may be, because in an uptrend, no matter how strong or weak that uptrend is, you're going to have a pullback. And so in order to not panic sell everything that you have, you need to be aggressively taking care of your positions, or maybe not even just aggressively, but you need to be watching yourself. As far as a scalp is concerned, my mindset is to always be grateful for what is given. And I mean that as far as options are concerned. If it's a weekly, so if I'm scalping weeklies anytime after Wednesday afternoon, then I am looking to secure profits aggressively. And for me, that's basically, I don't test, like, let's say we're watching Facebook here, okay, we know that 375 is a huge psychological number, right? So rather than waiting to find out whether we're going to break that, we just take profit there, or we take profit into strength, because it's always easier to sell contracts. And if you have multiple contracts, you know, I think Folk may hold. Yeah, I am watching Folk. So if we set that target, we're out at that target. So I am not, even if the play doesn't work out how I wanted it to, or if I got a late fill, I can't let that affect the plan. The plan stays intact. And so discipline is my mindset when I'm scalping. And when I'm day trading, I'm looking really to have patience. As long as the stock is holding up and not making lower lows, I know it's at least on, you know, maybe like an hourly time frame, I know we're still in trend. If we're trading flat and my contract's long, which it should be if you're day trading, it should be out at least till next week or something, then that's going to, again, give you the opportunity to protect your position, but also my mindset in that is to be patient and allow the position to work through those price levels. So hopefully that answers your question. I was about to say he has a family chart, doesn't he? Yeah. Briston, patience, question mark. Yeah. What is the most important thing you can learn when it comes to trading? In my opinion, what is the most important thing that you can learn? Psychology, yourself, yeah, that's it. Straight up. Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, and if you're fucked up and you can't get yourself, if you don't have the excuse my language, but I'm just putting this in a way where, you know, like if you don't have your shit together, it's going to let you know, right? I have been thankful for, you know, my ability to pick certain things up quickly, but I have still had to look at myself. No matter what I know that I can't execute it in a mindset or I don't feel like it's going to work out in the first place, or I shouldn't even be at the desk. So I think that trading offers a tough reality for some people, whether it be, and I'm not trying to get too heavy, but whether that be depression or anxiety or whatever, the jealousy, you know, whatever these emotions are, it's going to require you to come face to face with those and actually think about them, ponder on how maybe you can do better, because they're going to reflect in your trading. The stock market is the largest conglomeration of human emotions. So in a market where emotions rule, it's not necessarily going to be emotionless, but it's crucial to be aware of yourself and your reactions and where you don't need to be and where you do need to be. Are you new and do you need to be buying weekly contracts? Probably not. Does the reward of that tempt every human being on earth? Absolutely, because you can buy something cheap and then get paid Google, Amazon type prices. totally understandable, but we still have to be grateful for a large amount of money to be able to sit at your desk for 15 minutes and walk away with $200. That's pretty spiffy. You know what I mean? No matter what your price, whoever you are, being grateful, which is a part of that psychology. But anyway, rant over. I'm on YouTube right now. Atlas, you on there, my boy? You think, bruh, Flashcrest, my guy. What a comment. Okay, so did I hit Disney? I feel like I didn't hit Disney. No, I didn't.
It's 10 o'clock.
Hey, that it is. Trusty computer. Okay, I was just wondering if you were. All right. Link is in bio. Yeah. All right, so I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this has been kind of the way things happen for Starbucks. Just dumpage. I think we've had a couple earnings where things went well, but overall, the initial earnings reactions for Starbucks are not that great. So, in my opinion, I'll hire that. In my opinion, with Disney, the way that it reacted initially to earnings, it rejected that main target or that main resistance at one, and a lot of profit taking happened, and that snowballs often into what happens first is profit taking from a big gap up can be taken advantage of by shorts, and then snowballs into just a big pullback. I think that more than likely with the amount of momentum that we have now, we'll see this one back at 180 to fill that gap. Now that's going to be a mighty hefty rejection, so I would be watching for it to potentially bottom out. This support, the same 179. 179 is going to be crucial. The 9-day moving average, 20-day moving average, and 50-day moving average are very, very tight. Really, really close. So that means for me, whenever the moving averages, especially long-term moving averages, are tight, I want to see one or the other start to make a crossover and react with the price, and I haven't seen that yet. So as long as those moving averages linger behind, then the price action will likely continue to retest. So for me, watch for 179 bounce. Once we get to that mark, 179. Now we've already seen, we had extreme volume. We've already seen some attempted bounces in after hours, but that's likely where I expect Disney. And with the way the futures are looking, this could be a really interesting setup. And I think what we can do is set alerts above us at 180.91 as well. But for me, I would suspect that if we get a gap down, that the gap down would be somewhere in that range, and that would be a good catalyst or a good setup for continuation. So I wonder if people are going to be buying war stocks. Guilty are. All right. Sophie. This is boiling down to fundamentals, but it looks like it's on its way to 1450. Major support level here that we've seen it move to a couple of different times. So watch it to 1450, and then if you don't break that, then you're likely in I'd say $14 is the last support level for Sophie, before it sees continued downside from there. So. I feel you, dude. Atlas, that was a weird one, dude. I don't think I'm gonna chart that one. Alright, what else? You guys go ahead and lay it on me. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. What are we looking at? So Sophie, FUBO. Thank you guys for leaving those likes. I appreciate it. What gap did you say? Gap up at 39.47. You mean the one above us? Sure. What's up? Yeah, everything's on YouTube though, so you guys are more than welcome to go and watch the entire live stream. So. Okay. So 28.55. So yeah, that's where that 200-day EMA was right there. Daily time frames got us back at the 9. The 9 is at 28. I think that if anything, 27.65 and 28 flat are two levels to watch for a potential bounce. I don't like that you rejected the same zone here on FUBO, but hopefully you're gonna see a reversal off of the 9. Otherwise, this one's likely gonna head back down and retest. I mean, I'd say 25.50 minimum with the way that rejection on earnings happens. So you're always gonna want to bounce off that first bullish moving average here. And if you look here, you have what looks to be a bear flag. But a lot of times these can just flatline and end up curling right back up. So watch for the stock to curl. If you see that curl, then I would imagine a simple retest of potentially this downtrend here, right? So you could see this one curl back up and hit $30 before it rejects again or makes another move. So, all right. So my alert strategy, that's an amazing question. So my alert strategy is always usually going to be on points of rejection, or points of support, where I know that the stock is going to react volatile because there's a lot of volume waiting or volatility, buyers, sellers, etc., etc. So for me, I also use my major moving averages. So I'm more than likely prone to set an alert on my 200-day EMA right here, and that's going to at least give me an idea on whether or not I get that, because as you can see, it's where it's holding on the hourly. So the hourly being a good median between the daily and that lower time frame. I like to use my major moving averages on that time frame because they're usually representative of major moving averages on larger time frames. But points of rejection, so let's say we're charting FUBO around $28. We see multiple levels that get rejected. So I'm going to want to set an alert for whenever the stock gets back up there to either evaluate whether it's going to break and clear that level this time, or B, whether or not it's time to short it. And the prerequisites for shorting something is if it hits a major resistance on low volume with very little buyers above. And that's why we watch the tape on breakouts, because we're looking for the buyers sitting above that level. But we did, yeah. Yeah, we did. I know that some people still held. I did hold some speculative shares, but most of that position I got out of for the green, so. Yeah, it's link is in the bio there, so. I'm not doing that to my chart, that's weird. kind of picture this kind of neat. How did I do that? Can I make that stop? Please stop. Stop. Okay, it's getting worse. Oh, spiraling out of control. Alright. Panic. That fixes everything. Okay. Here we go. So low lows and high highs. No, Brian, I think more or less like I'm looking for major points of rejection. I'm looking for places where we've seen previous breakouts. So usually my level alert system starts on the daily, and I'm looking for, like, say if we're wanting Facebook to go and push up into this level here, we're going to need to see a break above a level that it previously rejected. So we could set a line here, right? That's where we've seen multiple wicks. So for Facebook having an interesting setup, we would want to see a break above 396.50. So a break above 396.50 with strong volume, we would want to set an alert there in order to get an alert on our entry, and then we can set alerts going down to that lower time frame on whatever we want that is relevant to. So if you're still in the habit of using pivot points, you can set alert on a pivot point knowing that it is going to represent a major resistance or support. So if you go over here and you look at this this mark that we held over in this range, you'll notice that lines up with that pivot point, that R2 pivot point. So if we ended up breaking on Monday above remember my level was 365.50, so 20 cents above this, but their first initial entry could be around 365.40 for a push up into the 369.50 level. So does that kind of make sense, I guess? Like I'm looking for breaks of major psychological numbers, or major resistances for continuation, and then sure, yeah, I can do that. Is that better? I think I did it. That may be too big now. Hold on a second. Jeez, I'm humongous. Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and rewrite those. Walmart has earnings too, B. Brown. Gotta watch that one. I've got an issue with my handwriting. These are price targets that I'm writing, so I'm looking at a potential push to 222 on CAT. I'm looking at a 295 push. Oh my god. Spacing, buddy. 295 for Microsoft, and then for Starbucks, what did I have marked out? Hold on 1 second. Sorry, let me go make sure yeah, so that I think 118 initially, but yeah. I think 118.50 in there. I think some ones to set on the side, or not on the side, but another couple setups are AMD. We're looking for this one to climb back into the 115 to potentially 120 range with continued momentum for last week. And then of course NVIDIA, I think Roblox belongs on here as well. And I will throw Walmart on the list there. I have really terrible handwriting, sorry about that. I will look at Pinterest though. Brian, did you, is that work a little bit better? The camera? Hopefully it's not like too big. I feel a little intimidating now. You see my cat reading my board? She's taking notes, dude. She's like, why did you write cat? Alright guys, what else do we watch? Anything else? Amazon Gap on daily. Okay, sorry, I missed that one. Why is this not? Sorry, that was weird. Amazon's rough right now. Okay, so this 200-day EMA, this is going to be a channel that Amazon was previously trading in. I suspect, and I'm not too far off, that not even just looking at those linear lines there, but also just pulling it off of these lows here, pulling this across, you will notice that Amazon is below resistance or below support. That being said, the 200-day EMA, which is right around 3250, is really Amazon's last chance to bounce, otherwise I think it could continue on the downtrend. It does have a massive gap above it, so if the 200-day moving average holds at 3250, I imagine that seeing continuation, and if anything, I would likely suspect that Amazon will bottom out here if it does hold this level, kind of representing the same move that it made here, but using this previous support as a resistance. So if you do bottom out here, leave this resistance, you may end up using that very same resistance as a targeted price later on. So Amazon, obviously with UPS and other stocks that fall, it takes a while for them to get off the ground. Pinterest is another one that I signaled on earnings. I usually don't, and we took the dump play, and then I think we played it one more time afterwards, and then the price action or the wind just kind of left the sails on that one. This one is down on and had two bounces off support. It's pretty pinched price action wise, below 55.60. It's likely that you'll see this thing back to 54.50 and even perhaps 53.87. Otherwise, because it's still holding downtrend, so a break in downtrend for Pinterest would happen around 57.14. That would be a lower break in time or downtrend, and then the initial target would be the top of that channel that it's holding at 60.50, and you'll notice that the 200-day EMA is running right into that channel too. So yeah, of course guys, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Ooh, I got fruit snacks. Alright, so before I get off, small account challenge. I think that almost just let that one go down the long hole. I think that for a small account play, Starbucks is going to end up being really interesting setup. I like it a lot for a small account. I also like Roblox on momentum after earnings. It's extremely unlikely that I'll end up taking any positions on the small account, but on my large account, more than likely. But otherwise than that, guys, we will update you guys more in the morning on my watch list. I will be up as early as possible. I'll tag you guys. Hopefully around 7:45. If I see anything interesting in pre-market running, I'll more than likely alert you guys as well. So be sure to check out on that. Matic, by the way, looks like it's going to make a breakout here above $1.04. Yeah, I imagine so. Hopefully so. Sorry. Yeah, guys, I'm wrapping it up. GRWG, does it bounce or continue falling? Unfortunately, mixed earnings may have this one pulling back here. It broke a lot of major supports, and it's currently back down at the 30s, anywhere below 30, and you're pretty much back into the 20 range for a little while longer. So that one just finished out what's pretty much it. Actually, you know what's messed up is that GRWG created a head and shoulders pattern before earnings and dumped. So any other questions? ETC, I'll do that in the morning if you guys have any other requests. Any other questions though? Otherwise I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Alright guys. Yeah. Alright. Alright guys, have a good evening. I'll see you guys in the morning. Again, those of you on TikTok or on YouTube, tomorrow we won't be live at night. Those of you in the Discord, we will. So make sure you guys DM your request. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out.